Welcome to Reminiscing with History Makers. We're joined today by Dick Mirgon. Dick, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So for starters, when did you join APCO?
I joined APCO in 1991. This is my 31st year.
During that tenure with APCO, can you describe the agencies you worked for, positions you held, responsibilities, and your length of service?
Yeah, since 91, I was predominantly a county department head overseeing a county communications department, 911 department. I retired about 10 years ago, and I've been working on the private sector since then.
Can you tell us what drew you to join APCO, or if there was a particular person that was influential in getting you to join?
Yeah, it was about learning more about the industry. I had been a police officer in Metro Denver, and when I took this new job in Nevada, overseeing a 911 center, I needed to learn more about public safety communications, 911, PSAPs. So this was the place to go. I was basically told by the county manager back then that you have to join APCO, and so I did, and that's where I started learning more about public safety and engaging other people across the country.
Can you describe your APCO activities at the state and national level during your tenure?
Sure. I was part of a group that started up the chapter for Nevada. We didn't have our own chapter at the time. So during that tenure, I was, like I said, started the chapter and ended up being the president. I was the executive council rep. And then back in about 2008, I got elected to the APCO board of directors. I'm probably one of the longest serving board members, as I came in as an acting second VP, and then after my term was up, I ended up coming back as another acting second VP because of a disruption of officers. But spent like 6 years on the APCO board of directors.
Would you say you had a favorite during that time?
A favorite to what extent?
A favorite activity?
Well, okay, so the activity was, not only did we reshape APCO at the time, we made a lot of changes. We did governance change for APCO, but we also did FirstNet. That I was part of the team that helped start FirstNet, representing APCO. APCO was part of the leadership of the Public Safety Alliance. We were actually the primary association that was part of the Public Safety Alliance. And so myself, Chris Fisher, Willis Carter, we helped start that, and I finished it up through my tenure on the board. So FirstNet was probably the most favorite thing that I did.
That's great. Would you say your APCO membership has had a direct effect on your career in public safety communications?
Oh, absolutely. Not only did I learn more and connecting with people, exchanging information, but being on the board and shaping the industry nationally. We did a lot of work with location accuracy, phase 2, which was phase 2 wireless back at the time. We did a lot of work with P25 and standards for radio network. And like I said a moment ago, FirstNet. FirstNet was it's the single biggest thing that's happened to public safety in 50 years. We were able to bring $20 billion of spectrum to public safety from the federal government and $7.5 billion cash. And no other association, and again, we worked with the IFC, ICP, major county sheriffs, fire chiefs, and everybody, to get there, but we were a part of that. And nobody has ever done that for public safety, and APCO was the one who did, APCO did it. And I was just a representative of the members of APCO, and people tend to forget, public safety is FirstNet. FirstNet is not a carrier. It's an independent federal organization, and APCO was part of that. So substantial changes over the years.
What would you say you like most about APCO?
The policy setting, the direction, the interchange of information, that we do better for our citizens when we exchange ideas. And there's a lot of agencies, not a lot, every agency can use new ideas. That you start operating in a vacuum, you start losing that edge to what's that next technology, what's that best level of service, how do you do it better than you were doing it last year? So that clearly, is what that was.
What do you think APCO does better than anyone else?
What APCO does better has actually changed over the years. We were the technology association for public safety, dispatchers, 911, There's not so much technology anymore because a lot of the technology we use comes as a service. We're not building our own networks as much as we used to. So today it's more about education in the comm center, about helping set national policy on 911, location accuracy, and educating those people in the comm centers to provide those services to our communities across the country.
So now with the advent of NG911, what would you say APCO needs to do to stay current with the emerging technologies?
You know, that's an interesting question because that's a large policy question. You know, members definitely need to follow the leadership within APCO. But the APCO leadership does a very good job of staying connected with the FCC, Congress, advocating for its members, and helping to shape that national policy. And let's remember, APCO is about the members. You know, they're representing the members. The members need to make sure that APCO leadership, the board of directors, staff, understands what those needs are at the local level, and so that they can have the right message when dealing with congressional delegations, staffers, and the FCC. I think a lot of our members don't see that work that's done by the government relations team, the executive director, and the board with those national regulators, the national elected officials that are in Congress that set legislation. You know, they're the ones who make it happen. They're the ones who authorize the spectrum and the money for public safety. And so it's that senior staff within the APCO that moves that agenda that benefits our members.
What stands out to you as a significant contribution during your time in office?
Oh, again, I know I sound redundant, it's FirstNet. Again, you know, and you know, I say and I get a lot of recognition for it, but it wasn't just me. It was George Rice, the executive director at the time. It was Chris Fisher, one of the other past presidents, Willis Carter. You know, for us to engage the board members of all the other associations, police chiefs, fire chiefs, sheriffs, and National Governors Association, National Association of Counties, to all come together to advocate for that spectrum and that funding that became our nationwide dedicated public safety broadband. That coalition that level of coalition has never happened in the past, has not happened since then. We hope it happens again in the future. But you know, I was one of the principal architects of that and participants in that. And so, you know, to say it was an honor to do that on behalf of the association is just an understatement. It was an absolute honor.
Once again, this has been Reminiscing with History Makers. Dick, thanks for chatting with us today.
Thank you, appreciate it.